All right, just got out of the theater. Just saw Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom. What are your thoughts?
What you mean overall or just
First thing comes to mind.
first thing comes to mind? I liked it. I think it began slower than the first one for me,
Okay.
but I liked it overall. I thought it was good storyline. I think it was enough action without being overly done.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
glad you didn't. You probably. I'm probably glad you didn't come to see Fast and Furious X with me. It's constant action.
Gotcha.
I didn't hate Fast X, by the way. Just
Yeah.
noted.
Yeah, but I liked it. I thought it was good.
Okay. I can't get into too much because I'm gonna make a whole other video about this, but I very much enjoyed it. There's a lot of stuff I'm gonna go over in that analysis video, but if I'm just gonna cover the core stuff, I actually thought that in terms of pace, it was more or less during the middle that it started to get to me. And the same thing happened to me in the first movie, where it's near the middle portion is where stuff started slowing down, which I'm fine with, because story's got to slow down at some point. Trying to get all my thoughts together, just the core ones. So music was great.
I liked the music. I thought the soundtrack was, had some memorable songs that, from my generation.
He was literally saying the song that they were playing.
But it was good. I liked it.
Yeah. Also, there's little tiny things that they did in the first movie that I noticed in this one. Like, for instance, a certain character gets saved by another, and these two characters had a big moment in the first movie, and there's a musical note from a song that they played in there. And when that character saved the other one, they played that same musical note. And I was really glad I picked up on that.
Yeah.
So even just off of a musical sense, the storytelling is a lot deeper than a lot of people are probably gonna think it is. I mean, obviously, really enjoyed the action. The movie is obviously beautiful, beautiful CG, for the most part. Just they go to plenty of different locations. It definitely doesn't feel like a one place movie. They go to the desert, but not as long as they did in the first movie, which I appreciated.
Good change of pace, just on scenery.
Yeah. And that's another thing, tonal shifting. So the reason why I'm thinking a lot of people didn't like it is because of the tonal shifting, which I kind of get, but that doesn't really.
And can you elaborate on what you mean by that? So somebody watching it, maybe they don't get that.
A good example of tonal shift is going from an emotional moment to a
comedic moment.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So some people may not appreciate that, and I fully understand why. But
hold on, can I stop you there and ask you a question?
Oh yeah.
Do you think that we are just more sensitive now to, just as society, just going from one moment, transitioning from something serious to maybe making a joke about that thing that's serious? Do you think that's why it may rub people the wrong way, or you think it was just cinematically just didn't flow for some people?
I think that it's within the past I'd say decade, with movies, specifically comic book movies as well, that specific tonal shift is becoming more normal, and people might be getting a little bit more annoyed by it.
Gotcha.
Because there's more we're kind of getting to a point where we're trying to appreciate emotional moments more, and doing jokes after that kind of rubs some people the wrong way. I think the really emotional moments that need to be emotional are hung on just long enough in this movie. For instance, there's a moment with Atlanta and Arthur and Orm near the end of the movie that I noticed, like, just out of nowhere, like, really got to me. Not just from a story perspective, but just because, you know, like, the music in the background, the scenery, like, the shot itself, you know, it hit me. Because, like, that's the part in the end of the first movie that, like, again, really affected me. Because, you know, it really felt like a mother talking to her two sons who have issues with each other.
For sure. I can see that.
Yeah. Oh, geez, what else is there? Oh, yeah. Just don't need to go into specifics, but how'd you feel about Black Manta? Because I know you really enjoyed him in the first movie, so how'd you feel about him in this?
I thought it was good. I thought I enjoyed him. I did. I thought it wasn't too over the top. It was, you know, like too over dramatic.
Yeah.
But it had enough what I would feel, you know, if I was coming from that situation, you know. So I thought it was more realistic. I mean, it's realistic.
You gotta be loose with that word.
You know what I'm saying. You know what I mean. But realistic as far as
there's a movie with a walking octopus, not very real. But
exactly. But you get what I'm saying. Just,
yeah.
And
it's more rooted in reality.
Rooted in reality, exactly. Great phrase. But I think that's true for me overall, and I don't want to step on your
on
your video that you're going to do later. That's more in depth. But I thought even some of the dialogue and the premise of some of the issues that they were dealing with are rooted in reality of today.
Absolutely.
You know, so I thought it was a good use without necessarily being hella preachy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. So, like, this wasn't really used as a criticism by a person whose, like, review I saw, but it was used as kind of like a funny, like, oh, they really did that. Someone said that this was like just a giant like save the earth type movie, like in the sense of like it be like preaching to you, not like it didn't really feel that way. Like, and granted, even if you argue that the vibe of the movie gave off that feeling, the first movie did too. And I'd argue that the first movie did it more because they go to the length of, you know, showing news reporters talking about the devastation done to the oceans. That was done way more in the first one than this one, but like this one just has more of a focus on that specifically.
Yeah, and I think though, I can appreciate, you know, somebody taking that point of view, saying, oh well, maybe you guys in the first one, maybe you went a little too far with it, but I think
it's a necessary thing to talk about. It's
a necessary thing to get to the root of this is the root of the thought process of, but wouldn't I have the same feeling though if you came to my house or my neighborhood and said, oh, I'm gonna build something here that's gonna be detrimental to my children and the people I care about? No, don't build that here. Take that someplace else. It'll be the same thing. I think it's just more of a protection. I'm going to protect my family and my people and what's important to me. And then people who are maybe sensitive to that or sensitive to the topic might have an issue with it. But then I think those people are going to find an issue with whatever.
Oh, yeah.
That's just how
That's actually kind of like I think like 30 or 40 minutes into the movie. And I tried to limit the amount of times that I leaned over and told you something that I noticed. But like, something that I immediately wanted to say like 30 or 40 minutes in is like, I'm waiting for that thing that happens that people got mad about.
Yeah.
Like I'm waiting for it to like punch me in the face to be like, yo, this is a really bad thing, so we like this should be the thing that, you know, is bad about the thing. Like, there's nothing that I can point out as like a serious issue of the movie that like is beyond like, oh, if you don't like tonal shifting and if you don't like those Lord of the Ring type long movies, then you wouldn't like it, which is fine. Like, I get that. Outside of that, and like, I guess people who don't like, so it might be an acting thing, because like, there's a specific type of acting that they do in this movie that's like very theatric. So like, if you don't vibe with that, you probably won't like it either. Which like, I'm well past the point of caring about like, oh, this person's acting more theatrical than they need to be, because like, I care more about like, what is the movie telling you, and like, what is the movie showing you, and like, I just like, I look for the deeper reasoning behind the movie itself, rather than just, oh, this person's acting is bad, so this movie is bad.
Gotcha. Yeah, I thought that they I thought they walked the line, and for somebody who is, if that's what you're focused on, you're gonna see it because that's what you're focused on.
Yeah.
But
And even then, like, even though like there's no like masterclass acting in this or anything,
Yeah.
there's nothing that was so bad that like that just like ruined it for me. Because like I've seen plenty of movies where like the acting takes me fully out of it, and it takes me like a whole 5 minutes to get back into it. Like because of like the constant like scenery changing and like just like everything else that went into it, that was nowhere near enough to take me out of it.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't find anything that was so bad about the movie, or just a specific instance that made me go, it wasn't that. It was just okay. We're getting to it. We're getting to it. I guess the beginning of it, and then once we got to the middle, it was okay. We're rolling now. So,
okay. So it's getting pretty lengthy. So I guess the final thing I ask you is out of 10, what would you give it?
Oof.
Obviously, this is always subject to change.
Yeah, because it's fresh. We just walked out, and something else might hit me. Yeah. But just my gut instinct is 8.5.
Okay.
What about you?
So, interesting thing, and I'll keep this short because I am getting to like 12 minutes. I had this whole thing with the first movie where my initial reaction was a 9 out of 10, and then at some point it went down to like an 8, and then to a 7, and then back up to an 8, and I think I've just settled on 8 for the first one.
That's surprising to me. Go ahead.
Time does a lot.
Yeah.
So I feel like I might end up having a similar feeling about this one.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna go with that and assume that I feel about an 8 about it.
Gotcha.
Obviously subject to change. It could. But yeah, like I found it specifically with like the final speech of the movie. I find it to be a decent ending to the DCEU overall.
Gotcha.
And I will go over that more in my analysis of the movie at a later point, whenever I get done with that. So, hope you guys watch it. I hope you guys like it. If you do, I'm out.